MMA people, we here today. Let's get it. All right. Um, jump right to it. Share the screen. Let's. Nope, nope, nope. Not this one. Oh, uh, mm, mm. All right, here we go. Yeah, I was looking at this. Check.
Up on the scale. He's like, I'm coming, Chris.
It's like Professor
Should have
X.
done the I'm coming.
Should have.
204 and a half.
204 and a half, the official weight for Yuri Prochazka.
this
and
is-
with that,
this
your
is
UFC
like Yuri
303
just taking his
championship
time.
main event.
Because he doesn't look that bad.
He's talked about
All right, they hyping Yuri up. If y'all don't notice, a lot of the commentary has chosen Yuri or has put him in some type of position to where if you're listening, you're like, um, I would probably, if you're right, I would choose Yuri. If what the person is saying is correct, Yuri is favored to win, despite what the odds are saying. I do think Yuri has a good odds here. I just am I'm more leaning towards Alex Pereira. A lot of the fact is just a little just personal. I like I like Alex Pereira's story a little bit better. I think it's just more interesting. And I think also is because he knocked out Israel, and ever since Israel just got weird, I don't know. I've been enjoying seeing him get beat up, and there's only been a couple guys to do it: Jan Blachowicz, your Alex Pereira, and Sean Strickland. So all three of those guys are good in my book. It is kind of biased, but I don't care. I honestly don't care. Israel Adesanya is a great fighter. He's just too weird for me. Sorry, not sorry. So, Alex Pereira's story is just more captivating in that manner. I don't think Yuri is anything's wrong with Yuri. He has a really good fighting style, very captivating, entertaining, different, unique. He's his own person. Definitely, I don't have anything against Yuri. I'm just a little bit higher on Alex Pereira and the aura that he's been able to maintain and obtain. But what you're gonna see here, these guys are talking about Hall of Famers for the UFC, who's not in the Hall of Fame that should be, and what you're gonna see is a bunch of Hawk-Tuaing. Okay, they're just Hawk-Tuaing the Fertitta brothers and Dana White and Joe Rogan. What the hell are we talking about here? I mean, it's really kind of sick to watch. I could only see so much of it. But let's get into it. See what they're going.
going down to
It's not like he was
middleweight. He said his
dying.
body
It looked like he
weight
just
is.
took his time.
He says his body weight is low enough to go down to middleweight. So I don't think a weight cut was an issue.
Are we only waiting on Peyton Talbot? He waited. Who are we
How
waiting
could
on?
you
Get him off
forget
the
that?
line.
I know.
You want him to get out there
Courtney
again
Smith
and take his
blacked
shirt
out.
off?
Courtney
Yeah,
Smith.
yeah.
Anthony.
I will tell you, man. I
Anthony
saw
Smith,
him.
that would be
I was
a
on
massive
FaceTime.
That would be a massive.
So they're doing a game where each of them are going to have a list. And on that list, they're going to name like three people who they feel should be on the Hall of Fame or in the Hall of Fame that are not yet listed in the Hall of Fame. Sorry about it. My man down there tripping or something.
Miss.
That'd
Somebody
be
If he
crazy.
doesn't get on the
That would
scale.
not be good. I
That would be
saw.
bad.
I could give you a little insight. I was on FaceTime with him yesterday as he was cutting the weight, and he had 10 to go. He had underwear on, if that's what you're going to ask.
Wait, that's not crazy.
What time?
No, it was like 9, 10 o'clock at night. Oh, yeah, it was like 9 o'clock.
Not
and he said
deal.
he just had lost 3. Now he's got 10 to go, which is kind of normal. But you know how it works, man. Everything could seem awesome, but down to those last couple pounds, it could just stop.
13 over, and you're just done with a workout, it can't be 3 pounds. Sorry, Chris.
Here in Las Vegas.
Okay.
But once you come to check your weight, if you're not on, it's going to be hard to go back and cut some more.
Oh, that's miserable. Once you stop sweating and you're here, it's really hard to go back and do anything.
You say more prayers. Lady, they're like looking at this thing on the floor, and then the ladies go, "What does it say down there?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's going down there too." I was like, "Nobody
They all drunk on Bud Light.
watching." What if the reporter would have been like, "He's got the towel"? I'd have went and fought somebody in there.
Yeah.
Well, as long as it says to wait for a second, you're good.
Yeah. Sorry,
it's good to know that they let you in the Hall of Fame despite all that stuff. So that's where we're moving next. Is 3 people. It don't have to be people. It could be a fight. It could be figures involved in the UFC that you think are locks to eventually be in the Hall of Fame. Obviously, they're not in the Hall of Fame yet. Weidman, let's
notice how they said it can be figures, it could be fighters. Some people, it could be a fight. All right, I'm gonna just rewind that just a little bit because you got to see the way that the question in the list are set up. Okay.
Oh, I'd have went and fought somebody in there.
Yeah.
Well, as long as it says to wait for a second, you're good.
Yeah. Sorry,
it's good to know that they let you in the Hall of Fame despite all that stuff. So that's where we're moving next. Is 3 people. It don't have to be people. It could be a fight. It could be figures involved in the UFC that you think are locks to eventually be in the Hall of Fame. Obviously, they're not in the Hall of Fame yet.
Open that chat up.
Let's start with you.
All right, we got to go with Lorenzo and Frank Fertitta. These guys, without them, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. They really took UFC. Do you know who Lorenzo and Frank Fertitta are? You look confused.
Exactly. They look confused because they're wondering why the fuck you up here talking about Lorenzo and Frank Fertitta. They don't even own the UFC anymore, and you're still up there hawk touring them. I mean, this is just kind of weird to me. Why they are taking the time to try to sit here and pull them back into it. Okay. Lorenzo and Frank Fertitta are not okay. They're fine. They don't have anything to do with UFC anymore, other than the fact that they did help build it up. Okay, but that's old news. Why are we talking about them?
They were the original owners.
They're on my list, asshole.
They were the original owners. Someone gave that to you.
They were the
original owners of the UFC. They're the ones who started it.
They're the ones who sold the UFC to the current owners. I mean, I think everybody who follows the UFC pretty much knows that. All right. I don't think he's breaking news here. All right. It's like, okay, the Fertitta brothers are rich. They were born rich. They're going to die rich. They bought the UFC in between time, built it up. Who fucking cares? What are we doing? We can build up fighters, but instead, you guys are up here trying to build up the Fertitta brothers who are they're maxed out. They have as much money as they will ever need, more than they'll ever need. And their clout, from what I've been told, from what I've researched, when I've looked into, their clout is up there too. So this here is just ass kissing. Okay. This is just unnecessary ass kissing. Like this is random ass kissing that just happened out of the blue. And I was just literally sleeping, but this came on and I was watching. I'm like, why the hell are they keep on? And you'll see that each one of them has like Joe Rogan, Dana White, the Fertitta brothers, just a bunch of hawk touring going on here, man. It was random as fuck.
With Dana, there were the Money Jackson. I mean,
yeah.
When I was up and coming, like when I was just watching you.
All right. So he has Lorenzo and Frank Fertitta, and then he has fucking Rampage Jackson and Frank Mir. So he has 2 fighters and 2 owners. What are we doing? I mean, if that's the case, why can't you just do like Lorenzo and fucking for Frank? Then you can do Chuck and Tito, and then you can do goddamn Frank Mir and Brock. Like, come on, man.
UFC. I wasn't in the UFC yet. Rampage Jackson.
There's 2 Fertitta brothers on his list, and there's 2 fighters on his list. What does that tell you? The Fertitta brothers are just as important as the fighters. They did just as much as the fighters did. Come on now. The UFC is a great organization. Obviously, I fuck with the UFC, but let's stop pretending like the fighters aren't the product. The fighters are the product. The product is the fighters and the product are what make this sport what it is. We tune in for the product, not for we. Uh, big ups to Frank and Lorenzo Fertitta for buying the UFC, but I really don't care about them. I don't watch because of the Fertitta brothers. I watch because of the fighters. I watch because of the fighters. The Fertitta brothers, I mean, if you guys are going to put them in the Hall of Fame, put them in the Hall of Fame. Just do it. But it doesn't need to be talked about like this. Like, come on, man. You guys are hawk touring over here.
Was like an icon.
Oh,
When he walked out and he was doing the wolf move.
Next list.
Joanna doesn't get in quite yet because it has to be 5 years after it happened. So next year.
So I don't even know this guy. Oh, Laura Senko. Her list. Amanda Nunes, and then the Whaley versus Joanna. Obviously, that's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, if that's not getting in the Hall of Fame, then you need to take out every other fucking fight in there. That's an obvious choice. It's going to the Hall of Fame. There's just no question. Amanda Nunes is going to the Hall of Fame. Thank you, Laura Senko, for giving us such unique fucking commentary, for presenting us such unique ideas that we could have never thought of on our own. Who do you think should be in the Hall of Fame, whether it be figures, fighters, or fights? Oh, I think Amanda Nunes, Weili Zhang, and Joe Rogan. Thank you, Captain Fucking Obvious. Okay, Laura Senko. Thank you very much for the insight. I would have never, ever, ever thought to put Amanda Nunes in the Hall of Fame of the UFC. This is my first time thinking of that. Wow. I would have never in a million years thought to put Amanda Nunes in the UFC Hall of Fame. Good job. Oh, bravo. Bravo. Zhang Wei Li versus Young Jacek. The best fight, if definitely in the women's division ever, and possibly the best fight fucking ever. I would have never in a million years said to put that fight in the UFC Hall of Fame. And then Joe fucking Rogan. How do we go from Amanda Nunes, obvious choice, Whaley Young Jacek, and then we're talking about fucking a commentator, Joe Rogan? Like, who cares if he's in the fucking Hall of Fame? The UFC is gonna put him there eventually, and he never threw one fucking punch. He's never thrown a fucking punch. He's never thrown a kick. He's never thrown a teep. He's never tried to do anything as far as what these fighters are doing. And we can take the time to elevate fighters, but instead we're going to build up guys who are already fucking maxed out. Joe Rogan is as big as he's going to get, pause. The Fertitta brothers are maxed out. But we're still using the time that we have to, again, Amanda Nunes is going to the fucking Hall of Fame. Weili Young Jacek or Zhang Weili versus Joanna Jacek, that is going to the Hall of Fame. Joe Rogan's going to the Hall of Fame. Let's put the light on someone else who's on that line. You guys are all playing Captain Ari, Joe Rogan, he's going to go to the Hall of Fame. I am Lord Sanko. Hey, Joe Rogan, please bring me on your podcast. Remember, I picked you. I mean, just a bunch of fucking sloppy toppy hawk tours. Hawk tours all over. Let's go to the next one.
I'm assuming that fight will be in.
Okay. I didn't realize that.
There's actual rules, like a 5-year wait period.
I didn't realize that
For
for
fights.
fights. For fights. But Joe could and will go in because
100%.
He won't do it.
I know.
He does not want the
doesn't,
spotlight
but-
on him like
And
that.
that's how. And apparently, Lorenzo.
Y'all hear this shit? How they're just ass kissing and ass sucking Joe Rogan and the Fertitta. Oh, they won't do it. They're too humble. They're too modest. They would never accept an award. Get the like, come on, man. This is BS. Joe Rogan, he doesn't want any attention. He doesn't want any attention. That's why he does his best to bring guests on his show who won't get attention. He gets the most unknown people to try to give them a little light because he doesn't want a bunch of attention. I mean, the stupidity. This is just ridiculous. It's just a bunch of hawk. This is a hawk tour show. A hawk tour show. Okay? I'm telling you, this shit woke me up out of my sleep. I was sleeping and this was on, and I'm like, what the hell am I hearing right now? What the hell am I hearing? UFC 300 tonight, y'all. UFC 300 tonight. Make your picks. Put your picks in the chat, and we'll break them down. But I'm telling you right now, this is just a Hawk Tour festival. That's what this is. Hawk Tour festival for the Fertittas, for Dana, for Joe.
Lorenzo and Frank Fertitta. It's the same thing with them. They don't want to go in.
Yeah. But they should. We'll just put him in.
They don't want to go in the Hall of Fame for the UFC. I promise you. You guys are so credible up here. The Fertittas, they don't want to go. They're just way too modest. Okay, Joe Rogan, he's just way too humble to go into the UFC Hall of Fame.
Anyway, you don't have to come.
Yeah,
to the party.
exactly.
All
right, you guys want my list? Since you don't think I know anything,
Yeah,
I think it's a pretty damn good list. First,
Dana fucking White. And then he adds Lorenzo and fucking Frank Fertitta at 2. So, this is what we're talking about. There's Dana White, a non-fighter, Lorenzo Fertitta, a non-fighter, and Frank Fertitta, a non-fighter, on this guy's fucking list. Okay? I'm not even gonna say his name. He's a piece of shit. I don't even know why he's in the UFC space, why he's in the MMA space. They just put anybody in there, pause, to kind of push the show going. This guy knows nothing about no goddamn MMA, nothing about UFC. But hey, let's put him in the show, put him around a couple fighters, and then we can make it entertaining, and we can make him seem credible. We can make him seem like he knows what he's talking about, even though he has no fucking clue. But what he is gonna do is hawk tour for Dana, for the Fertittas. Hey, maybe you guys will have a job for me down the line, or you'll invite me to some of those after parties or some of those UFC fights with Conor McGregor. Maybe I can be on the commentary with Conor McGregor one time. This is what the shit is. It's hawk touring. They're trying to place their bids so that when the Fertittas and Dana Whites and Joe Rogans of the world are doing their Christmas shopping, that they get remembered. That's what they're fucking doing right now. They're trying to, hey, remember me when you're doing your Christmas shopping. Fertitta and Lorenzo and Dana and Joe, when you guys are doing your Christmas shopping and Black Friday shopping, don't forget me. I put you on the Hall of Fame list. It is sick. Sick. And it's random. I don't even understand why they're doing this all of a sudden.
First of all, I have Dana White #1. And I have the Fertittas 2. And the reason is, I know the Fertittas are the money, but I don't think it would have happened the way that it happened without Dana spearheading everything. And then the Robbie Lawler-Carlos Condit fight at #3 from UFC 195 back in 2016.
All right. Next. Daniel fucking Cormier. Daniel Cormier. Y'all know that's my guy. Y'all know that Daniel fucking Cormier is my guy. Y'all know that already. But I'm telling you right here on this, DC, you lost me, brother. I know you're a company fucking man. I know that you're a company man. You got the company man gut. It's all good. I'm not even surprised. Honestly. Yeah, you put Lorenzo. Look at this shit. Did everybody not put Lorenzo and Frank on their goddamn list? And Joe and Dana. How many fighters could have in fights? How many fighters in fights were left off this list because they wanted to put on a Hawk Tour performance to get on Dana White's, Lorenzo's, and Joe Rogan's Christmas shopping list? They want to get a Christmas card from Joe Rogan. They want to get invited to the next hospitality event that Dana White puts on and the Fertitta brothers are catering. This is some bullshit, man. This is straight up fucking bullshit. So many fighters and so many fights were left off of this list of recognition. Okay, this list of recognition because of these fighters want to go out here. These clowns want to go out here. These journalists want to go out here and put on a Hawk Tour festival. Okay, the recognition that they're giving Lorenzo Fertitta, Dana White, Joe Rogan, we already fucking recognize them. Their shows, their stories, their contributions are all well documented. What they've put in is all well documented. What they did it's already in the Hall of Fame without even saying. It will be there no matter what eventually. But the fact that we're going to take this time, we're only doing a couple hours to shine light on fighters and fights. We're going to shine light on people who have already had the biggest fucking light shined on them possible. I mean, the there's no other light that you could shine on Joe Rogan, Dana White, and the Fertittas that's already shined on them. Seriously, this is bullshit. It's a missed opportunity by the UFC. It's a missed opportunity by all these guys up here. I mean, just yeesh. A suck off. That's what it is. It's just a suck fest. They're just sucking up to the Fertittas, to Joe, and to Dana White. How many good fights were not talked about and not discussed just now? He talked about one of them talked about this is just weird, man. I don't like this type of shit. Okay. I rock with the UFC, but come on now. This is stupid. Amanda Nunes, Robbie Lawler versus Carlos Conduit. Come on, man. Nothing wrong with that fight. But how many other fights we could have named? There's only one fight. You got this one up there, which makes sense. Okay, cool. But then you got Dana White and the fucking Lorenzo Fertittas and Frank. The Fertittas. How about a fight? How about a fight that people also were thinking should be in there, but hadn't mentioned yet? A fight that's really good, that's right there, or a fighter, even Chael Sonnen. He's getting inducted with a fight, but should he be inducted just as a fighter? That can be a topic. There's so many topics that we can get to. So many topics. Oh, get in the chat with me. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Get in the chat. So yeah.
The reason is, I know the Fertitas are the money, but I don't think it would have happened the way that it happened without Dana spearheading everything.
I think the Fertitas are the money, but Dana White. Shut the fuck up. Just shut up, man. You're a weasel. You're a weasel, man. I think the Fertitas, they're the money, and all the shit that everybody already knows that follows the UFC. Yeah, good job, buddy. You really laid some groundbreaking news. You really cracked the code here. I can't imagine anyone who ever thought of what he just said, that Dana White would be in the Hall of Fame, and that you and is let's just be clear. The reason that this question was worded the way it was worded was intentional. Okay. This was not a coincidence that they just so happened to say fighters or non fighters. They were making it so that you would specifically focus on the characters like a Dana White, like a Fertitta, like a Joe Rogan, specifically for them three. Specifically. That's why they said or non-fighter. It doesn't have to be a fighter or a fight. It could just be a non-fighter. How is that just randomly included into the criteria? Yeah, it was intentional. They were doing this specifically to shine the scrotums of one Joe Rogan, two Dana White, three, four Fertitta brothers. Bottom line. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Come on. Yes, yes, yes. Let's see what y'all talking about in chat box. Yeah, so we got UFC 303 tonight. Alex Pereira is going against Yuri Prohaska. Prohaska is saying that Alex Pereira is using dark magic and some type of witchcraft, voodoo, spiritual thing that is affecting not only him but others. And I really am interested in that. Man, I would love to get more in-depth insight on exactly what he's doing. Talk to both camps because this type of shit is very common. Okay, believe it or not, this is something that's been done multiple on multiple occasions. Okay, throughout multiple timelines in history, time periods in history, multiple time periods in history, this type of shit happens. All right. So I'm just more even when I was in college, one of my teammates had some type of some type of spiritual protection that they were explaining to me. I just find it interesting. I think it's pretty cool. You know, you going into war, you going into battle, you want as much tools as you can possibly have. Okay. You want as much advantages as you can possibly have while still under the guidelines and rules and policies that are presented to you to fall under. So there's no rules in the UFC saying that you can't have spiritual protection. So why not use spiritual protection? I don't see why not. I think it's kind of cool. I would love to see exactly what he's doing though. I think that I would love to see what because whatever he's doing, it has Yuri's attention enough to where he's like, I felt that shit and it affected me, and I don't want that shit to be present again. When we go into our next fight, I don't want that shit to be a factor. But it was last time, and I felt it. That's what Yuri's saying. He's Yuri, a fucking proclaimed samurai, right? This isn't just some random fighter or your average fighter. This is a fighter who taps into shit, who's isolated himself for days at a time just to make sure he's in a clear mind state, clear state of mind. This is who we're talking about. We're not just talking about some fighter who's just, you know, saying saying shit, trying to find excuses. Speaking of, we're gonna talk about Jamal Hill. And then after that, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. So I'll be right back. Get the chat going. Get that chat going, and I'll be right back. Okay, we back. Let's see what we got. Mm, mm, mm. Hmm. Okie dokie. Jamal Hill. Man, I didn't want to have to do it, but what the hell is Jamal Hill? What is up with him, man? What did he do? I mean, I know this fighting shit is serious. It takes a toll on you. But wow, he has really like just really just fallen off of anything that is respectable outside of fighting. Outside of what and what he's done in the octagon, no matter what you say, is respectable. Even though he just got knocked the fuck out by Alex Pereira. It's not the end of the world. It happens in fighting, especially when you're fighting against the best in the world. The problem with Jamal is outside of the octagon. The shit that he's doing outside of the octagon is just, I mean, it is so fucking cringy. It's so hard to observe. Challenge it for one, he's challenging guys who don't even fight to come fight for $20,000. But he's not even going to give them the $20,000 if they fight. It's like stipulations behind it. So it's like, oh, you could show up to fight and get it for $20,000, or you're gonna show up to fight for $20,000. You get there just to find out that he's got some other bullshit behind all that. Oh well, you gotta last this long. You have to do this. You have to land this many strikes, and you also have to attempt a submission to get the 20,000. Like, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. You're a lying piece of shit. Like, I mean, we look at so much different things, and we talk about John Jones and all these bits, Conor McGregor's, the shit that they got going on in their personal lives that gets put out. Jamal's out here beating up his brother for not cleaning his house, you know, like, dude, and you did it in front of your children and his wife. That's sick. Okay. I I can't really at this point in my life um get into the mind well again get into that mindset of fighting my brother, which we used to fight all the time, multiple times a day. But to fight my brother in front of my children and his wife or girlfriend or something, I just wonder what my mental state would have to be. It would have to be, I mean, it would have to be at a severely low for me to want to do something like that. It's pretty bad. And then we got these YouTube channels making all these excuses, just excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. Well, Alex Pereira. Well, next time we fight, I'm gonna make sure that I am locked in the whole entire time. Okay, so that's not something you already knew to do. It's just amazing to me. You captured UFC gold and you somehow captured UFC gold without understanding that you have to protect yourself at all fucking times, without understanding that after a ref says, okay, continue, that the fight is back on. You didn't know that, even though you threw a punch right after the ref said fights on, got knocked out, and then still made the excuses. Did it did that throw off your rhythm? Possibly, I believe that. But is that an excuse? No, the fuck it's not. I do not believe that. I do not believe that Herb Dean is the reason for you getting knocked out. And it is sick to see Jamal Hill lying to everyone watching. I mean, I actually watched this on MMA. What is his name? MMA Joey. He did a breakdown and showed how Jamal Hill in the UFC promotional for 303, they showed Hill getting knocked out, but they showed the kick. Jamal Hill's toes went in between Alex Pereira's cup and his thigh, which is literally the groin. He had his toes right in between the nutsack and the thigh of Alex Pereira. And he sits there, watches that, and says that he didn't kick Alex Pereira in the groin. The sound, there's no sound on the video, but if anybody who's watched that fight, I was watching live. I bought that shit, paid for it with my own hard working money, and I watched Jamal Hill kick Alex Pereira in the cup, get knocked out, just for weeks later for him to say, I didn't really kick the cup. What are you talking about? The sound. You can hear the cup. It's hollow. Where's my cup? You can hear this when the cup gets hit. It sounds much different than getting when nuts get hit. Okay, when flesh gets hit, when the thigh gets hit, when a shaft or tip gets hit. It does not sound the same nearly. It doesn't sound anywhere the same as when a cup gets hit. There's a hollowness like that. There's a hollowness to that. It's a whole different type of material. It does not produce the same sound in any way, shape, fashion, form, frequency. Sounding of hitting a cup does not sound like the hitting of nuts, does not sound like the hitting of a thigh, does not sound like the hitting of your stomach. It's nothing alike. So for Jamal Hill to sit there and lie and say that what we all see with our own goddamn eyes. We can watch this. We can watch this in slow motion. We can watch it in fast motion. We can pull it up closer and zoom in. We can pull back and watch it from a far angle. And it all says the same shit. We can listen to it. And I can put on the sound for my 5-year-old and say, hey, when you hear a sound of a object being hit, raise your hand. Anybody can hear the cup getting hit. Anybody can hear the cup getting hit. And if you've ever been in any type of combat sports and you wear a cup as a guy with that type of equipment down there, then you know it doesn't take much to disturb the peace down there, if that makes sense. A night, if depending on the positioning inside the cup of the equipment, a, a tap in a certain place can affect you real good. The right tap, okay? Now a kick, come on, man, it's no good. But just so happened the position that goes both ways. So the position that the equipment was in when the Lex got hit, it just wasn't so happened to be in a position where it was affected. So he waved Herb Dean off and said, "No, watch out. I'm about to knock this motherfucker's head off." And that's what he did. He was walking him down, walking him down, walking him down, walking him down, walking him down. Okay, the last minute and a half of Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill was Jamal Hill getting walked down, kicking him in the nuts, pretending like he didn't do it, and then getting knocked the fuck out. And Alex with that shit. That's the last minute of the fight, you know. But yeah, the Jamal Hill pretending like he didn't get knocked the hell out and like he didn't kick Alex in the nuts and like he didn't know that the rules state to protect yourself at all times and like he didn't throw a punch right after Herb Dean continued the fight. It's a bunch of bullshit, man. Jamal Hill, stop that shit, dude. And don't hit me up with no $20 challenges because I'll pull up on your ass for $20,000. So don't even play with me like that. And on top of that, just again, we could look at the back and forth that Jamal Hill just had with the fan who was actually supporting him. Like this is the type of loose screws that we are working with right now. we're dealing with loose screws, and just honestly, somebody needs to check in on Jamal Hill. They need to see if he's all right, because the shit that he's doing, it really doesn't look good. I like the fact that he wants to get that fight back with Alex. Honestly, I love that competitive drive. Okay, that competitor in him. That's what drew me to Jamal Hill in the first place. Because believe it or not, only reason I'm making this video is because I actually do care about Jamal Hill as far as this content goes, as far as me being a fan of the UFC goes. I I like Jamal Hill. I like the things that he's been able to do. I think he's done a hell of a job, and I wish that he wasn't so caught up in what everybody else fucking thought and that it didn't affect him this much. That's honestly what it is. I don't have anything against Jamal Hill, not even close. I have no thing against Jamal Hill. I want Jamal Hill to do his thing. I just want Jamal Hill to stop being weird, man. Stop being so fucking sensitive. And obviously, fighters are sensitive. That's why they fight. All that cliche shit. But like, dude, you're overly sensitive, man. Like, you're overly sensitive, and your sensitivity is turning into delusion, man. And it's not good. It's not good, man. Nothing good is gonna come from in a level of delusion that is this high. And what is at stake with this delusion? It's not like, again, this ain't no basketball shit. This ain't no football. Football where we're just run and catch and try to break a tackle. This is real shit. This ain't volleyball. These motherfuckers out here fighting. Okay, they're out here fighting for real. So I like Jamal Hill. I want him to do well, but it's like, dude, how can I support somebody who is just gonna lie and make excuses? Like, come on, we don't want to see that shit. What is wrong with losing in grace? If you got clipped, you got fucking clipped. You win some, you lose some, but you live to fight another day. Why are we gonna sit here? Well, if it wasn't for Herb Dean, dude, if it wasn't for Herb Dean, Alex Pereira would still be punching you in the top of your head right now as I'm speaking. If Herb Dean never stops that fight, Alex Pereira never stops punching you, buddy. This is so. Oh my goodness. I just don't like when fighters do this, man. I don't like the excuses. Like, it's fighting. It's the highest stakes that you can possibly play outside of military style combat, shit like that, or they're literally fighting to the death. Outside of that, this is as high stakes as you get. Shit happens, Jamal. We as the fans know. We understand. We're not holding it against you that you got knocked out by one of the best fucking strikers in the history of humanity. No one is downplaying your ability because you got knocked out by Alex Pereira after you came off of a fucking Achilles injury rupture a year and some ish off, and it seems like you came back even a little early. That's gangster shit. Okay? That's real shit. That's why I fuck with you. But I'm so sick and tired of you coming out here and just making yourself look like this, man. Stop. You look so desperate and weird, dude. You look desperate and weird when you do this. It's weird. It makes me uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable when I watch you act like this. Watch, we about to read a back and forth dialogue between Jamal Hill and a fan, an actual supporter of Jamal Hill, and it's not in any way throwing shade, anything like that. A actual fan of Jamal Hill. Okay, Masdar. We're going to call him Masdar. Masdar sends a tweet to Jamal Hill. Says, "We need you to humble Alex Pereira, champ. Jamal, we need you to humble Alex Pereira because he's getting way too cocky." So that's what one of Jamal's supporters is coming to Jamal to tell him, "We need you to come back and humble this man because he's gotten too cocky." Jamal apparently is so sensitive. He is so sensitive. He's so brain warped. He's so in his feelings that it is blinding him from even being able to read a simple sentence such as that. This sentence only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 words in it. But Jamal Hill is so blinded with his delusional weirdness and inability to accept defeat that he couldn't even read a 8-word sentence that was in support of him. He couldn't even correctly read it. He thought that this guy Mazdar was insulting him and telling him to be humble. This is how the delusion will that's what I'm telling you. When you're in a mental state that is um that low, it's that um groggy, that clouded, your judgment is also clouded. When you're that low, it clouds your judgment. And when it's real cloudy outside, it's hard to fucking see. So his judgment is so clouded that he can't even see that this person here is on his side in support of Jamal. That's how far that's how far off Jamal has gone from where he became champion. He's so gone right now mentally. Mm. So Jamal says, "Humble my nuts, bro. I'm humble to those that humble their self." Point in fact, who are to tell me to be humble? Meaning, who are you to tell me to be humble? What experience do you have with what I do daily? Meaning, okay, sir, you who came to support me in what I do and provide food for me because that's what the fans do for you fighters. If you didn't know, fighters, if you didn't know, fans put food on the table for you all and your children. I so happen to be one of those fans, and so does Mazdar, who is sending Jamal more of a motivational type of style message. Nothing malicious about what this fan is saying. Very encouraging, if anything. He calls him champ. He refers to Jamal as champ. As a fighter, what is more uplifting than the term champ? What's more admirable than being the champ? So again, we need you to humble Alex Pereira, champ. This is what Mazdar says to Jamal. Jamal then misreads his message, completely misinterprets it because he's so clouded with rage and hate and weirdness that he couldn't even read this 8-word sentence correctly. Tells Mazdar to humble his nuts in that he, who probably has bought in pay-per-views before, who is he to tell him to be humble? What experience does he have with what Jamal does daily? So because you're not I'm assuming he's not just talking about somebody who trains. Okay. I'm assuming he's not just talking about somebody who trains. I'm thinking he's saying, since you're not a UFC, a professional fighter, you can't tell me about anything that I'm doing. in fighting. Fair play, buddy. Fair play, bucko. But if you would actually read the sentence correctly, I'm sure this is not what you would have said. And look at the interviews with Jamal Hill, when people are actually interviewing, asking him questions that the fans want to do. They're just doing their job. That's what journalists and interviewers do. They ask the questions that they feel the people want to know, or that they know the people want to know. And those questions aren't always the most fighter friendly questions, I guess. But guess what? It's part of the fucking game. Are you rich, Jamal? Are you famous, Jamal? Well, guess what? People are gonna ask you some fucking questions, Jamal. And they're not just gonna be the questions that you want to answer all the time. They're actually gonna ask you some questions that you don't want to answer sometimes. And guess what? As a professional, you just answer them anyway if you're a professional. But if you're just a professional who happens to be in the profession, then this is what we get. Relax, bro. I'm simply saying that we are rooting for you to become champ again. He's telling him, hey, man, I want you to be the champ again. I'm rooting for you. Calm down. Tell me to be humble out of the blue is not support. If you support me to do, tell me how to be. I don't even know what the hell. If you support me, do that. Do tell me how to be. Tell me to be humble out of the blue is not support. What he was trying to say is, if you support me, then don't tell me how to be me. If you support me, don't tell me how to be me. Okay, Jamal, I support you, but I'm telling you right now, you're fucking yourself up as far as your career goes and how the fans are going to view you. You're ruining your fan base. You are literally ruining your fan base with this type of mentality. For one, you're not going to pay anybody $20,000 to come to the gym and spar. So stop lying. For two, you kicked Pereira in his fucking cup. So stop lying. We can all see this shit. You went out. You were knocked out. Stop lying. It's okay. You lost. Everybody knows you lost. You know you lost. So stop lying. Just again, if Alex loses, get that rematch if you can. If Alex wins, go get some wins and get that rematch if you can. We all respect that. But we're not going to respect this weirdness, man. And then he says, but I never, Mazdar responds again, but I never told you to be humble. Read again, because apparently you are so fucking thirsty. You're so ready for a fan to attack you that you can't even understand and see that a fan is actually in support of you. That's what you call missing opportunities. When you are so focused on the bullshit, the things that you are outside of your control, then you start to lose control of yourself. This is what's happening real in real time. Jamal Hill is losing control of himself. But I never told you to be humble. Read it again. I said I want you to make Pereira humble, to beat Pereira up. Read, brother. This is how you know. Okay, Jamal Hill does not have his manager running his social media. A lot of fighters have their management team, whatever the hell, run their social media, public relations, PR team. They'll have them run the social media, so on and so forth. Jamal, nuh-uh. He's not having this. He's not having his professionals that he's paying money to run his social media because he wants to run it himself. Apparently, he's the jack of all trades. He's Jamal of all trades. Yo, Jamal Hill, you got to stop this shit, man. You have to stop this shit, man. This ain't good. This ain't no good. This is not a good look. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. So I just wanted to kind of touch base on that shit before we get off here. I have I got some shit we can do. All right. I'm about to go to the gym, get it in, give me something to eat, and I'll see y'all on the next one.